My first guest tonight first appeared in the Cherry Orchard at Lincoln Center when she was 12 years old. She now returns as the lead on Broadway. Please welcome Diane Lane.
I have been in 4 Francis Ford Coppola films: Rumblefish, The Outsiders before that, The Cotton Club, and a wonderful film starring Robin Williams called Jack.
Hollywood has a rule, and it's an unforgiving one. New faces pop up, old faces fade out, and everyone, it seems, is locked in a desperate, unwinnable fight to look 25 forever. It's a brutal, relentless game, but every once in a while a star rewrites the rulebook entirely. And arguably, nobody embodies that quiet revolution more than Diane Lane. For over 4 decades, she's been the industry's quiet powerhouse, the actress who could shatter your heart without a word on a silent train ride in Unfaithful, or ignite a collective desire to buy a one-way ticket to Italy in Under the Tuscan Sun. But now, at 60, she's turning more heads than ever. So what's the real secret behind that undeniable glow? Well, stick around. We're about to break down the complete, fascinating evolution of Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. Hi, Di.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm just great. I have to thank Richard for plugging my film.
You see, Diane Lane's beginning wasn't some sleepy suburban dream. It was pure, unfiltered, gritty New York City. She was born in 1965, and her mother, Colleen Farrington, was a nightclub singer and a former Playboy centerfold known as Miss October 1957. Her father, Burt Lane, was a dedicated acting coach who drove a cab to pay the bills and ran an acting workshop with the legendary indie filmmaker John Cassavetes. Their marriage was a flash in the pan, and when they divorced just weeks after Diane was born, her father gained custody, a highly unusual arrangement for that era. So Diane's childhood unfolded not in a stable home, but in a string of residential hotels across New York, living and breathing the world of theater. Her father's friends were all actors, playwrights, and creatives. He once quipped that putting his daughter into acting was better than daycare, and it turns out he wasn't really kidding. At the astonishing age of just 6 years old, her professional career kicked off at the legendary La Mama Experimental Theater Club. She wasn't just doing school plays. She was performing in avant-garde Greek tragedies like Medea, speaking her lines in Greek, and touring internationally with the company in productions of Electra and The Trojan Women. But this deep dive into theater was complicated. Her dad called them Siamese twins, a closeness that often felt overwhelming, leaving her with little control over her own life. As she later told Time magazine, "I didn't want to be acting for that much of my childhood." This struggle, the life carefully shaped for her versus the life she longed to explore, helped create the strong independence she's admired for today. Then, at just 12 years old, Hollywood came calling in the biggest way imaginable. George Roy Hill, the famous director behind hits like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid, cast her in the 1979 film A Little Romance. It was her very first time on a movie set, and she was instantly magnetic. Her co-star was Laurence Olivier, often called the greatest actor of the 20th century. He was so amazed by her natural talent and confidence that he famously, and a bit intimidatingly, called her the new Grace Kelly. The praise came fast and heavy. Almost overnight, she was a real star. By 14, she was on the cover of Time magazine in a story naming her one of Hollywood's new whiz kids. But even then, a quiet doubt started to grow. She seemed to realize far earlier than most that this wasn't only about her, it was also about the studio's powerful publicity machine. That clear-eyed awareness became her shield. In a world built to boost egos and throw stars away, Diane Lane was already learning how to guard her true self. And as the next 20 years would show, she was going to need that shield more than ever.
Jerry, just relax. I mean, just try. You're supposed to be my girlfriend, aren't you?
Don't ever pull anything like that in Washington.
Are you serious?
Who do you
Just
think
try
you are?
it. Don't do this to me, Jerry.
But, Jerry, I'm not do this. I came here to see a movie, and I'm gonna see a movie.
Freezing, man. Why didn't you bring a coat, stupid? God.
In the 1980s, Diane Lane moved from being a celebrated child star to a rising teen icon. This was the age of the Brat Pack, and she found herself right in the middle of it, working with the director who helped shape the era, Francis Ford Coppola. She starred in his back-to-back 1983 films, The Outsiders and Rumblefish. As Cherry Valance in The Outsiders, the thoughtful girl who saw the soul beneath the leather jackets, she became the dream crush of a generation. These movies, filmed with a raw and almost operatic style, were bold and artistic. But the roles also placed her into a narrow box, and breaking out of the teen star image is one of the hardest challenges an actor can face. She kept working, taking on big projects like the rock and roll tale Streets of Fire and Coppola's grand period drama The Cotton Club. But The Cotton Club became famous for behind-the-scenes troubles and ended up flopping at the box office. And so, at just 19 years old, Diane decided that in today's non-stop media world would be seen as career suicide. She pressed pause. Completely. She walked away from it all. She felt that her father's ambitions had pushed her into acting, and she was no longer sure if it was the life she truly wanted. So she stepped away, moving to Georgia and quietly retiring on her own terms. She gardened. She slowed down. She spent time figuring out who Diane Lane was when no cameras were pointed at her. It was a bold and necessary choice, an early sign of her strong instinct to protect herself. She understood something that many actors never realize. To have a long and meaningful career, you first need a real and meaningful life. When she returned, the road wasn't easy. The late 1980s and early 1990s were years of hard work and uncertainty. She earned a well-deserved Emmy nomination for the hit 1989 miniseries Lonesome Dove, proving to any doubters that she had real dramatic talent. But that highlight sat among a list of films that didn't leave much of a mark. There are even well-known stories that she nearly got the lead role in Splash, which went to Daryl Hannah, or as Vivian Ward in Pretty Woman, which made Julia Roberts a star. It was a stretch of near misses and constant struggle. During this time, she married French actor Christopher Lambert, had her daughter Eleanor, and divorced in 1994, leaving her as a single mother with a career that seemed stuck in place. The incredible new Grace Kelly buzz had completely faded. Many actors in her position would have given up, resigned to playing thankless supporting roles. But Diane Lane wasn't giving up. She was gathering strength. She was collecting invaluable life experience, the joy, the heartbreak, the resilience. She was unwittingly laying the groundwork for one of the most significant career comebacks in modern movie history. She was about to show everyone that her second act was destined to be far more powerful and resonant than her first.
First, right off the bat, this movie, Unfaithful, obviously a major movie. It was a huge hit. That's usually a good thing. But in it, you play, which is unusual, a woman who's in a fairly happy marriage and is unfaithful to her husband. And I'm wondering, did that change the way people looked at you?
People would approach me, especially women. I mean, I would get variety of, some people would pat me on the back.
Right.
Way to go, girl.
Right.
You know, we showed them.
Right.
Or how could you Richard Gere, I mean, how
'Cause
could you?
right,
You know,
people were
everything.
mad at
And
you
then
for
the
cheating.
Men, the men,
Right.
forget it. Whore! Just
What guy goes up to Diane Lane and yells, "Whore"?
across the street. They
and
take from a distance.
Yeah, and then probably wants you to sign something. Whore. Could you sign this, please?
Yeah, would you sign this for my wife?
Billy, yeah, thanks
Whatever.
a lot. Anyway, whore.
By the early 2000s, Diane Lane was a steady, respected actress, but the huge A-list fame that had once been predicted for her had never quite arrived. Then, a script came her way that would change everything. It was the project that not only reignited her career, but also proved she was one of the most daring and powerful actresses of her time. That film was 2002's Unfaithful. She played Connie Sumner, a suburban wife and mother who, after a chance meeting in Soho, begins a dangerous and consuming affair with a younger man. The role was emotionally demanding, asking her to move through guilt, desire, freedom, and deep regret, often without saying a single word. Diane Lane gave a performance that was nothing less than extraordinary. Everyone remembers the now iconic train scene. After her first secret meeting with her lover, Connie rides home alone. In one long, unbroken take, her face tells an entire story. No words, no music, only her expression. Shock, joy, shame, and even a giddy kind of horror rush across her face in seconds. It didn't feel like acting. It felt like the audience had stumbled into someone's most private confession. Entertainment Weekly's Owen Gleiberman wrote that Lane, in the most urgent performance of her career, is a revelation. And finally, the world took definitive notice. The role earned her nominations for a Golden Globe, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and, most significantly, her first ever Academy Award for Best Actress. It was a complete and total vindication. She proved emphatically that actresses over the age of 35 didn't have to fade away into thankless, boring mom roles. They could be the magnetic, messy, complicated, and compelling center of a major motion picture. With Unfaithful, Diane Lane wasn't just back in the game. She was reborn, in full and absolute command of her power, and ready for whatever came next.
You start a marriage with champagne, you should finish it that way too. To freedom. Okay. Open! A 10-day tour to romantic Tuscany.
I am not ready to meet anyone.
Oh, you won't.
If Unfaithful was the dark and turbulent storm, then 2003's Under the Tuscan Sun was the glorious, sun-drenched day that followed. Fresh off her Oscar nomination, she had her pick of intense, dramatic scripts. Instead, she made a brilliant pivot and, in doing so, created a new kind of classic that would resonate with audiences for years to come. The film, based on Frances Mays's beloved memoir, is about a writer, Frances, whose life is completely torpedoed by a nasty and unexpected divorce. On a whim, encouraged by her best friend, she buys a rundown villa in Tuscany and embarks on the messy, challenging, and ultimately joyful journey of starting over. It's a love letter to second chances, a story about rebuilding a life not around a man, but with new friends, food, and the profound act of finding your own damn home in the world. Diane Lane was perfectly cast. She brought all the raw, bruised vulnerability she had excavated for Unfaithful, but seamlessly blended it with a hopeful, funny, and deeply relatable warmth. Having gone through a divorce herself, she said in interviews that she knew exactly what her character was going through, and then some. That transparent honesty poured directly onto the screen, and audiences connected with it profoundly. The film became a cultural touchstone, a beautiful escape that gave millions of women permission to be the messy, brave, and triumphant heroes of their own stories. The role earned her another Golden Globe nomination and solidified her image as a powerful symbol of resilience. She was the woman who could fearlessly explore the darkest corners of human emotion. And then, turn around and embody the pure, unadulterated joy of finding yourself in an Italian villa. This wasn't just another hit movie. This was Diane Lane stepping into a persona that felt completely, authentically, and inspiringly her.
Hi, I'm Diane Lane, and this is my turn. Childhood can feel as though we are living for our parents. As a child of divorce,
Through all of this, audiences and fans couldn't help but notice something unusual. A question started popping up again and again. Is Diane Lane even aging? It almost became a running joke. She still carries the same glow and sweetness she had as that 20-year-old newcomer in Hollywood, yet the calendar insists she's now in her 60s. Some point to good genes, others to healthy living, and a few whisper about Hollywood juju. So, what is the real secret? How does Diane Lane look and feel so vibrant at 60? When asked directly, she has a refreshingly humble and humorous response, often laughing it off as a combination of great makeup, lighting, prayer, and genetics. But if you listen closely to her interviews and look at her choices over the years, you discover a philosophy that's way more powerful than any cosmetic product. Her secret isn't a frantic chase for youth, it's a deeply ingrained way of life. First, let's talk about the physical stuff. Her approach is refreshingly simple and sustainable. One of her biggest secrets, a practice she's maintained for decades, has always been yoga. It serves me well, is her understated way of putting it. It's not about some grueling high-intensity workout regimen. It's about staying centered, flexible, and connected to her body. She's also not a fan of punishing cardio sessions. Instead, she finds joy in simply moving her body in nature. I can hike for hours and love it, she says. Her other brilliantly simple trick? Big hats? Seriously? I bring my shade, she says. I don't care if I look like a gardener. It's a simple, practical, and brilliant move against sun damage. Beyond that, it's all about a science-backed skincare routine, and there are reports of her using natural methods like acupuncture facials to boost radiance without resorting to invasive injections. It's a holistic strategy focused on long-term health, not on erasing history. But here's the real core of her secret: her mindset. In a culture that is utterly obsessed with fighting aging, she has chosen a path of radical acceptance. She has an amazing, grounded attitude, once quipping, "Every wrinkle tells a story. I'm not interested in erasing my life's journey from my face." This isn't just a clever talking point. It's a philosophy she genuinely lives by. She has described her relationship with aging as cozy, and has stated firmly that she's not trying to play 29 and holding on with white knuckles. To maintain this mental clarity, she intentionally disconnects. She carves out dedicated tech-free time to escape the constant noise and pressure of the modern world. Her go-to tool for this? Meditation. She calls it a wonderful way to quiet your own world. When it comes to diet, you can forget the extreme punishing fads so common in Hollywood. Her philosophy is balanced, sensible, and joyful. As she beautifully puts it, "I believe in nourishing my body with whole foods, but I also believe life's too short to skip dessert." It's an approach centered on listening to what her body needs, not on depriving it. And perhaps her biggest and most effective power move of all is her commitment to privacy. In an age of relentless oversharing, Diane Lane's relative silence on social media is a radical act of self-care. She keeps her personal life deeply personal. By consciously staying off the exhausting treadmill of likes, comments, and public validation, she protects her energy and her peace from the inevitable judgment and noise. She once said, "Peace is underrated," and that simple statement pretty much sums it up. Choosing dignity over drama and quiet confidence over constant scandal might just be her most powerful and effective wellness secret of all.
So happy to have you here,
What a
Miss
thrill.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me back.
Gorgeous.
Good morning.
Good morning. So third time's a charm, huh?
I'm charmed. I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I just.
For many actors, their 50s and 60s are when the phone starts ringing less, when the roles start to shrink and become less interesting. But Diane Lane's career isn't just surviving, it is actively thriving. Her third act is proving to be her most dynamic and exciting yet. She has found, in her own words, a joy in playing the age of the person I am in life now. You can see that joy and confidence radiating in her recent work, especially in her tour de force performance in the 2024 series, Feud, Capote vs. the Swan Star. She played the formidable tough-as-nails socialite Slim Keith, the very woman who led the charge in the social takedown of Truman Capote. In a cast overflowing with legendary actresses, Lane repeatedly stole scenes with her portrayal of icy wit, wounded pride, and unbreakable will. The critics were ecstatic, with outlets like the AV Club declaring that she nearly steals the show. Her performance earned widespread rave reviews, with many buzzing about a potential and well-deserved Emmy nod. What's so compelling about this role, and the others she is choosing now, is that she is reclaiming her power on screen in a new way. She's no longer just the love interest or the wronged wife. She's now drawn to complex, powerful women who are masters of their own universes. She is actively seeking out these stories because, as she says, her heart even hungers for them. She has continued to work consistently in interesting projects, from playing Martha Kent in the DC Universe films, to roles in the Netflix series A Man in Full and the Pixar sequel Inside Out 2. This new chapter feels like the ultimate payoff for a lifetime of hard-earned experience. She brings a depth and a wisdom to her roles that you can only get by truly living a full life. She isn't stuck desperately trying to recapture the look and feel of 35. She is fully and beautifully inhabiting her age and experience. She built a legendary career on her own terms, having the courage to walk away when she needed to, and the talent to come back stronger every single time. As she continues to select these rich, compelling roles, Diane Lane is offering a masterclass that a career's third act isn't the end. For the truly talented, it's the ascension. So when we look at Diane Lane at 60, what are we truly seeing? Yes, of course, she is a beautiful woman. But to focus only on that is to miss the entire inspiring point. Her remarkable transformation isn't about looking younger. It's about living with more wisdom, grace, and authenticity. It's in the quiet, unshakable confidence she projects, the smart, deliberate choices she makes to protect her peace, and the profound way she owns every single part of her journey. Her story serves as a powerful and elegant middle finger to Hollywood's relentless myopic youth obsession. She teaches us that real, lasting radiance doesn't come from a desperate attempt to erase your past, but from fully and proudly owning it. Her greatest secrets aren't found in an expensive jar or at a surgeon's office. They're found in a quiet yoga pose, a long hike in nature, the conscious decision to unplug from the noise, and the radical acceptance of the person looking back in the mirror. Diane Lane has shown the world that you don't have to scream to be heard. You can build a legendary, lasting career on pure talent, unwavering integrity, and timeless grace. So, what's your favorite Diane Lane movie, and what part of her philosophy on life and aging resonates most with you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. And for more stories about the stars who truly inspire us, be sure to watch our next video.